Welcome to the Commission Queen podcast. Commission Queen is for women real estate agents that are craving success and want to do things differently. We talk all things manifesting, money, and of course, real estate. I'm your host, Becca Marie, and just like you, I'm a real estate agent. I went from struggling to get clients to making over 6 figures consistently while working 15 hours or less each week. And now I coach women like you on how to do the same. Listen for real-life examples and tips in every episode on how to massively increase your income and find your freedom with ease. You're here because you're ready to change your life, your business, and your financial status, so let's do it. Hey Queens, it's here. I'm so excited to be launching this podcast. Thank you so much for joining me. For the first full episode, I wanted to share my biggest manifestation yet, the story of manifesting my $1 million house, something that 6 months ago, I honestly did not even think was possible. It wasn't on my radar. Things happened really, really quickly. And I wanted to share the story with you because I want this to be an inspiration and motivation for all of you that feel like maybe you're stuck right now, or maybe you've been wanting to manifest a desire and it just doesn't feel like it's happening, that things can happen and they happen really, really quickly. So as you're listening to this story, you'll find ways of how this can apply to your story or your current situation. Episode 2 is going to be the how to manifest your dream home. So we're actually going to go through my steps on manifesting your dream home. So if you're also manifesting real estate in your dream home, that is going to be a great episode for you to catch as well. This podcast is the Manifesting in Real Estate podcast. So of course I wanted to start out with a story of manifesting real estate. So let's dive into the story, and I'm going to give you some background so you can kind of see where this is all taking place. So basically, in August, my husband and I closed on our first $1 million house, and we absolutely love it, and it is definitely everything that we were looking for and had no idea that we were looking for all at the same time. So a little background, I was hosting my Month of Manifesting challenge. So it's a month-long challenge of having daily manifestation activities. And I did this in the month of May. So started right away in the beginning of May. And I was manifesting, I set the intention to manifest property, manifest some sort of real estate property. And I like to leave things fairly flexible and open so that whatever shows up, shows up. So to me, that meant maybe an investment property for us. Maybe it was a second property in Texas or Florida. We were kind of looking at that. And of course, as a realtor, I'm always looking at houses around as well. Now, average sales price where I am is like $275,000, maybe $300,000. That's the average sales price where I'm at. And we were looking at houses, we were kind of looking at a budget of like $600,000 max. At one point, we looked at a house that was in the $700,000s, and both my husband and I were just kind of like, that seems like a little bit too much. And we are very wealth conscious. Like, yes, we know that we have the money, but do we want to spend that money? Is that helping us towards building wealth and our goal towards building wealth? So we weren't really looking at that, looking at $600,000 max. And one day I was looking at the Home Spotter app. If you're a realtor, of course, you know what that is. And I was looking at the app and I didn't have any type of max price set on it. Just kind of looking in the area. I saw this house. This over $1 million came up. It was brand new to the market. I clicked on it, just to look at the pictures. I'm looking through picture after picture and seeing my dream house. Every single thing I loved. I loved the style. I loved what it had. And then all of a sudden I get to this picture of it has an indoor pool. What? It has this beautiful indoor pool that basically looks like a hotel pool. And then I get to the picture that it has an indoor sport court. And it just seemed like what a dream house. It was on the river with beautiful river frontage bank. And it was just gorgeous, super private. And I'm like, oh my gosh, this is the freaking dream house. I excitedly send it to my husband, but very jokingly sent to him, "Please, babe, I want this house. Like, can I get it?" I send him houses all the time, and especially like really lavish ones. So this is a very normal thing that we do all the time. And he usually always says no. So I was expecting him to do the same with this one. He came back and was like, "Okay, wow, I love everything about this house. Let's go look at it." So when I sent it to him, I was actually at my parents' house. My parents live in Las Vegas, mostly full-time, and they were just coming into town. So it was literally their first full day in town. So I was at their house hanging out when I found this listing, and I was like, "Mom, you have to look at this house. It's amazing, and I think that we want to go see it tonight." So my mom looks at the pictures and she's like, "Wow, this is incredible. Your dad and I would love to come see it with you." So I'm like, okay, I guess you can come see it. So basically we book the showing as a joke, just as like we wanted to see this house and maybe we can pretend and dream that we're looking at it for ourselves like it's our dream house, and realize at this point we are not pre-approved. Like I'm my own worst client, right? Like I'm not pre-approved. I know that we can be pre-approved up to that 600 amount, but I have no idea anything beyond that. So we go to look at it, and as soon as we turn into the driveway, I'm like immediately brought back to this time that I remember so vividly when I was a child. I don't remember exactly what age. I think it was like middle school age. So maybe I'm like 12, 13, 14, something like that. I remember driving back in this neighborhood because it's a beautiful neighborhood on the river and there's a lot of cool houses. And driving around beautiful neighborhoods is a very common pastime that my family had. So no wonder I'm a realtor. And I remember seeing this exact house. Literally, I know that it was this exact house. And looking at this house and saying, someday I am going to live in a house like that. Like I am going to have a house like that when I grow up. I remember saying this to myself because it's got these cool gates in front of it. And in the window, there's a big window with a huge chandelier. And I remember looking at that chandelier through the window, and that's exactly what brought me back. I looked up in the window and saw that chandelier and thought, what the heck? This is actually the property. This is actually the house that I said I was going to live in a house like that one day. So by the way, now I have heard hundreds of people that have manifestation stories like this about their dream home. And I'm sure you've heard them too. And maybe sometimes you think like, no way that's possible, or at least no way that's possible for me. And I've always thought that. When I hear that, I remember this story about Tony Robbins, how he bought this like beautiful castle looking house in San Diego, and thinking, well, that's really cool for him, but that would never happen for me. And so I 100% believed in the manifestation, and yet I was never really thinking about it for me. While we were looking for our first house, I remember hearing a lot of stories about people that had put these houses on their dream boards, or they remember the same kind of thing, saying they were going to live in a certain neighborhood, and then they did. Every time I heard one of those stories, I found something that I used as an excuse of why it wouldn't happen for me. I thought about, okay, that's amazing, that's so cool, and it probably happened because of this thing that I don't have. At the time, I don't think that I recognized what I was doing, that I was making those excuses and not really applying it to myself and thinking it could be possible. Looking back now, I definitely know that's what was happening. This is like May 21st that we're looking at this house. So remember, I was hosting the Month of Manifesting Challenge and started in May, and here it was kind of towards the end of May. And as soon as I saw that and knew that it was this house that essentially I wanted to manifest as my younger self, instantly I thought, what if this is the house? What if this is my manifestation? So we walk into the house, and of course everyone starts like oohing and aahing. And I'm in shock. I'm in like total shock because it's this house. And also just the fact that this house was everything that I dreamed of. Even when I saw the house back when I was a kid, I obviously had no idea what was on the inside of this house. And it is actually like a style that I love, and it has all of these crazy amenities and everything. And I just remember being in total shock and walking around feeling like this is my house, and at the same time feeling like I don't deserve this, I won't ever get this. Having all of those thoughts and feelings come up of, this will never happen for me. This is a nice house, but like I'm not going to touch anything because it's too nice for me. Have you ever had those thoughts? Have you ever been in a situation where you stepped into and you thought, yes, this is exactly what I want. And all of a sudden, all of those limiting beliefs, all of those old thoughts, old patterns, old programming come at you. Like they just come at you full force and take over your thought process. Just because I have manifested all of these things and that I teach on manifesting and that I teach on money mindset, just because I do all of those things does not mean that I am immune to these things happening to me as well. I do have the tools and am equipped to overcome them. So as soon as I started understanding like, okay, whoa, all of these things are coming up, I started to try to combat them. But while I was in the house, so many things were popping up for me. Like, no one in my family has ever had this type of house. No one in my family has ever had this type of money. And all of these thoughts just coming at me as I'm trying to enjoy walking through this house. And we leave the house, I'm still in kind of a daze, remembering that we absolutely loved it. And at the same time, I felt like I didn't really look at the house because all of these internal things were going on inside of my head. So that week, I remember like thinking about all of those things that came up for me just when I was inside of that house. And I started to think, what if it was possible? Like, what if this is my manifestation for the month of manifesting? What if? And I started to become obsessed with overcoming those thoughts, overcoming those old beliefs. And what if this could be possible? So I asked my husband to go see it again with me. And he was like, yeah, sure. I love to look at that house. And he's still thinking, there's no way that we're going to buy it. And when we first left, I thought too, like, yeah, there's no way that I'm even going to find out if we can buy it. We're not going to buy it. And when I dove deeper into those thoughts and into those feelings and into what if I could manifest this, I was like, okay, now I'm ready to really look at it without all of those thoughts. I did the work to release those thoughts and those beliefs, and I wanted to look at it again and give it an actual shot. So we went and looked at it, and I'm obsessed again. I'm like, okay, now I actually see it. I'm actually giving myself the ability to say, can I see my life here? And I was obsessed. My husband is still like, yes, I love it, but there's no way that we're going to buy it. In fact, as we were leaving that time, my husband was saying as we were backing out, like, take a picture or video of this house because it may be the last time we ever get to see this house. And something about when he said that, it was the catalyst for me of saying, okay, I'm deciding I am locking this in right now and I am manifesting this house. This is our house. I start getting into the actual like manifesting this house and vibing with it. And I'm seeing signs everywhere and I'm getting like angel numbers everywhere. And I felt so aligned. I remember one time we were out to eat and I just told my husband, like, I am so aligned right now. And everything points to getting this house. And he's just like, I wish we could. I love it, but I just don't think that we can. And I don't think that we should. And I'm just like, no, like we are going to get this house. I know that we are. And everything points towards, yes, this is the right decision. So we look at the house again, right? I am so my worst client. I think we ended up looking at it 4 times before we finally wrote an offer. And I have never had a client look at a house more than 2 times before they wrote an offer. That's so funny. But anyways, so we look at it again and I'm like, okay, now we have to get pre-approved. Like, let's get it. My husband finally got on board and started to see the vision for it. Finally, we're like, okay, let's see if we can get pre-approved. We don't even know if we can. So that will let us know if we can do it or not. We get pre-approved. Within like a day's time, they're like, yep, looks like you're good to go. And I am in shock again. It's just like the most amazing manifestation that we never knew would be possible. At the same time that we're getting pre-approved, which is summer, at the same time in summer, 4 years before, we were trying to get pre-approved for our very first house. And we gave them all of our documents, all of the things. And you know what they told us? They told us basically there is no way, not a single dollar amount that you can be pre-approved for because your debt to income ratio is 362%. Now, all my realtors know that debt to income ratio, right, should be like that 40% mark. So we were way, way, way far from being pre-approved. Like it just looked completely impossible. Then 1 year after that, 1 year after saying there's no way you can be pre-approved for any amount, we were pre-approved for over $400,000 in 1 year. So 3 years ago, we were approved for $400,000. Now, just 3 years later, we get pre-approved for over $1 million without even having to sell our current house. It just blows my mind. If there was a way to tell my past self, that girl 4 years ago who wasn't able to get pre-approved for her first house because she was so far away and so in debt, that in 4 years, in just 4 years, she would be pre-approved for over $1 million. I mean, there's no words. Like, there's no way that is possible, except it is. It happened. That's why when people say, oh, I don't believe in manifestation, or I don't believe in that stuff, and I don't believe that I'm totally fully in charge of my life, it makes me so sad because they are missing out on something huge for actually creating their life and creating their desires. That's why this is my passion to share with you, to share with everyone that this is available for you. We all have different starting points, and my starting point obviously wasn't great. I didn't have a lot of success in real estate when I started. I didn't have a lot of money. Now, everything I have in my life today, the reason I love my life so much is because I can show you how I designed it. I can show you how I held the belief and took responsibility. I'm so blessed, and it's not just me. Of course, I'm co-creating with God, the universe. And it's because of these principles, the principles that I teach. So anyways, with the knowledge that we can purchase the house, that we are pre-approved for it, my husband and I go look at the house one more time. And this time we walk into the house and I see rainbows, like little rainbows everywhere. It was so beautiful. And rainbows are my number one sign from the universe to let me know I'm aligned, I'm on the right path. The little rainbows were coming from how the sun was hitting the chandelier and just going everywhere, which we had never come to the house and seen that before. So this time when we came, the sun was in the perfect spot and hitting it so that all these rainbows were showing up on the walls. And I am so ecstatic because I know this is it. Like, this is serious. This is happening. And then all of a sudden, even I started to think, I started to have even more limiting beliefs that I didn't even know that I had, things that I had never, ever, ever, ever thought in the past. It was that whole like new level, new devil. Like it was all of a sudden these massive, massive fears that I had no idea that I had. Some of them being, what if we stop making money? What if one of us gets sick? What if we start to fight about money and it hurts our marriage? What if we have to stop traveling? What if people start to think of us differently and think that we feel that we're better than other people, or think that we're selfish for spending this amount of money on ourselves? All of these irrational fears I had no idea that I had coming to the surface. I mean, my ego was really, really working hard to try and keep me safe. And that's the exact thing that is keeping me small and keeping me from my desires. So I had to overcome that. I remember going on a walk with my husband and telling him all of these fears. And he's like, "You're the one who's taught me that we don't have to be afraid of this and that we can live in abundance. And if we find out that any of those types of people are in our life, then do we really want them in our lives anyway?" This is about creating our lives, expanding, and living out our dreams. It was just everything that I needed to hear, and I'm so grateful for him because that's what I needed. I remember the night that we put the offer in finally. We went for a walk, and it was this beautiful summer evening with the biggest full moon. And we were just thinking about, like, what will it be like? And are we ready to put in an offer? If we put in this offer, if we purchase this house, we vow to do it in abundance, to feel that we are abundant instead of start worrying about how much money it's going to be or how much money that we're going to have to spend. So we finally put in the offer. It was so cute. My husband, he's like, "Okay, let's sit down." We sat down on the ground because we were out on trails for a walk. We sat on the ground and he's like, "Okay, let's hold hands." And we just said, "Okay, we vow to do this in abundance, and we vow to love each other through it." We finally put the offer in, and we're so excited to hear back. And guess what? It took over a week to get an answer, like any type of answer, from the sellers. The longest time I've ever had to wait for any type of offer. The first couple of days, I was like really stressing out and getting really upset of why we didn't hear back yet. And towards the end, I finally realized, okay, you need to detach from the outcome here and just trust. If this is really the manifestation for you, if this is really the best thing for you, it's going to happen. And I had to release it and just trust that if this was right for me, that it would happen. During the pending period, I was in San Diego on a 3-week trip that I had a training for, and it was just amazing because then I didn't have to worry about anything, and I was just really able to tap into those abundant vibes of still traveling and saying, we're not going to give up anything. We're not going to change our lifestyle. We're going to continue to pursue our dreams and have our dream house. It's a both and world that we live in. It would have been easy to go into it saying, okay, we're buying this house and now we really have to budget. Now we really have to buckle down and we have to take out all the extra stuff and we have to stop traveling and all of that. But we knew that was not the vibes that we were going for. We were not going for those vibes. We would not feel abundant. We would not be able to attract the more dreams, the other future dreams that we wanted, if we had to sacrifice so much just for this one thing. And we also don't want to sacrifice our wealth plan in building wealth. One way we decided to do this, because we always want to make sure that our real estate has some sort of ability to make it an asset and not a liability, to make it where it's actually bringing in money, is short-term rental. We love short-term rental. We do Airbnb with our other house. And so this just made sense to do that with this house as well. So we plan to Airbnb this house out like when we're traveling and maybe even more than that, and see whatever we're feeling. Because the vibe is always that we are money magnets and that we attract money and that we can easily and effortlessly make money. So we closed in August and have just been enjoying it. We love it so much. It's been so fun sharing it with friends and family. And it's been a really, really cool thing. Both of us kind of wondered how our families were going to react because, again, both of us do not come from families with money. In fact, Nick, my husband, we actually didn't tell his parents until after we bought it because he was so worried of what they may say and how they may react, and thinking that they would say something negative that would make him less excited about getting his dream home. We're extremely grateful because everyone has been so supportive and so excited for us. When we told our friends and I told my family, like everyone was texting us, telling us that they would drive by it. My cousins, my aunts and uncles, my grandparents, friends. It was just so fun. And that's what I want this to be all about, to share it with others. It makes people think, it makes people dream, it makes people inspired when they come here and think, wow, this is amazing. And the fact that it's possible, like we are 30 years old and bought this beautiful $1 million house. For some people, this isn't a huge accomplishment, and for others, it seems like it could be impossible. The focus here isn't the number or the accomplishment, it's seeing where I was and where I am today and where I'm going. I am beyond grateful. I have so much more to share with you. In the next episode, I'm going to be giving you the steps of how to manifest your dream home. So make sure that you come back and listen to that episode, especially if you're looking to manifest your dream home. Thank you so much for joining the launch and listening to my story on manifesting my $1 million home. I have so much more to share with you, so many more tips on manifesting, especially in real estate. To celebrate the launch of the podcast and to say thank you for being a listener, I'm going to give you 30% off the month of manifesting, the same exact program that I went through to manifest my dream house. Use the code CQPOD, that's CQPOD at checkout. The month of manifesting is a self-study course that you can go through and get daily activities to manifest any of your desires. So whether you're new to manifesting or you just need a refresher or to just get back in the vibes, the month of manifesting is so good. You can click the link in the show notes to go straight to the checkout for the month of manifesting and put in that code CQPOD, CQPOD. Happy manifesting. Thanks so much for listening. So hit subscribe and I'll talk to you in the next episode. Gratitude and abundance, queens. Thank you so much for joining me today. If you loved this episode, hit the subscribe button and share a review. I so appreciate every one of you. If you're not already following me on social media, you can find me at Commission Queen and go to commissionqueen.com to browse products and get more free content.